Listen, streaming is a money-making business. Trust me, I completely agree. But look at this thing that is interesting. So next year in 2021, or for the 2021 creation budget, Disney Plus is gonna spend $1 billion to create all this new content. Hulu is gonna spend $3 billion to create content. Apple TV is gonna spend $6 billion in content creation to have content in their service. Amazon is gonna spend $7 billion worth of content. And Netflix is gonna spend $16 billion. 16 billion. Total, there's gonna be $34 billion spent on the main streaming platforms. All these guys, just these five guys, are gonna spend in 2021 $34 billion worth of in creation of movies, series, documentaries, etc., etc. So why am I interested in that? When I see that there's $34 billion that are going to be spent this year, and probably more, because all the other platforms, as they get ready for war, Disney is probably going to go from 1 billion to 5 billion or 2 or 3 billion. All of them are going to start spending more, so that the next movies, you're going to watch them at home. And as you can see, when you go to the stores, the screen are bigger and bigger and bigger. Soon you will have a screen that is big enough to not go to the movies, because you can watch at home with your popcorns. And especially in these times where, I mean, here in Portugal, cinemas are open, but I'm not going to a room with AC, a closed room full of people. I'm not going there. So I'm watching all my movies when they reach one of my streaming platforms. Or you can rent them if you want, etc., etc. But what is interesting here, and how as business people, or we can think about it, is from these 34 billion, how do we get a slice? That's what I'm interested in. And how can I use, which platforms would I go see, so that they can give me a percentage, a little slice of that money, so that I can really think about pushing African content. There's a lot of African creators who have a lot of great ideas and who have a lot of content where, and you know, I grew up in France, and I guess it's a different experience for each people. I didn't really think about it when I was young, but the more I was growing up, the more I was realizing that the TV is something that makes you feel not at home when you watch it in France. In France, it's still a revolution, or so everybody's like, oh my God, wow, when you got a black person presenting news, or when you got a black presenter in prime time, and they still receive a lot of hate. A lot of hate letters and stuff. And the people who decide what has to be done are still in this thing where the movies, when you watch TV in France, you don't feel like it's a multicultural society. And it is. And a lot of these countries in Europe, I'm just going to talk about the ones I know. I lived in Portugal, I lived in France. A lot of them, yeah, I mean, you don't feel like it would be normal for example, for a good Nigerian movie, a good Nollywood movie, but the high level one, to play at 8:30 in France. It doesn't happen. A movie full of black people, they don't play it. And this is not normal for me. Whatever are their reasons, this is also one reason why I'm moving away from normal TV to the platforms like Netflix. Because if I go to Netflix, and right now, if I go to Netflix and I look for, let's say, African movies. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. If this is something we didn't have, as people who come from our countries and we live in Europe, thanks to these platforms, we are able now to watch the content we want. If I type Japanese movies, boom. I love this. Wait, no, what is it? Street food? No, what's this? There's something like I love. No, it's not here. If I look for Indian movies, bam! Look at that. They're all here. I mean, not all. And it's the same thing if I go to Amazon. Let me not do something stupid. Amazon. Which one is the TV one? Let me see. If I go to Amazon, Amazon Music, Prime Video. Okay. If I go to Amazon Prime Video and I type African movies, oh, I'm not in the right place. Wait, Amazon Prime. It's not Prime. Amazon are complicated. Wait, Amazon. Whatever. Amazon Prime Video. Watch. Oh, there it is. That's the one. Oh, come on. I'm not logged in. It's logged in on my TV. Whatevs. You get the point. What is amazing right now is that in the world we live today, if you are Indian, you miss home, you want to watch content from home, you can watch it straight on your TV on demand. Something that 20 years ago was impossible. If you want to watch, am I blurry? Sorry. There you go. If you want to watch Kaysha talking to you all night, you can watch 56 episodes of Club Shada and I'm here talking. Blah, 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 blah. And you can do that live. This was impossible 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was only some people had access to not only the money to be able to do the creation, but also the possibility to have your voice heard. When I released my first music video in 96, it was called Fix. When I released my first video, there was no space for hip hop. There was no space for in French television. It was like, African music, Caribbean music, world music. We accept one song. It's going to be one song. It's going to be the heat of the summer. Everybody else, fuck off. That was how it worked back then. And it's still how it works. They have like every year they have one song from Magic System and one Zouk song. That's it. Everything else, they're not interested. National radio in France, They don't play zouk. They don't play ndombolo, rumba, kofi olomide. They don't play this. They only play American music and French variety. And the rest of you, yeah, go listen to your obscure TV and radio stations. So you always felt as a minority. And if you would want to create a whole channel with something else than music, but also news, talk about whatever, everything else that is for your community, directly they will start attacking you and making sure you don't succeed. And they will say, oh, they are trying to create something to be communitarist, etc., etc., etc. And the beauty of the streaming services is that they have a global audience, and they know it, and they know what everybody wants to watch, and they know how many percentage of the people who pay every month want to see African movies, are interested in kizomba, are interested in zouk, are interested in Afro house, are interested in whatever, because it's based on what people search, on what people look at, on what people like, on what people, when they propose something, if you don't like, if you never click it, then they will not propose to you again, and they will propose you something else. And because they know what you like, and they show you what you like. It's the same thing for the music platforms. But us as content creators, this, when you have $34 billion that are here getting invested by these platforms, this has never been a better moment to start thinking about what you're gonna do as a creator and which door you're gonna knock at. Because I talked for a long time about those documentaries that I want to do. A documentary about zouk, compa, kizomba, and the ramification. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, hey, I want to do like a 4-episode thing with 1 hour and something each. When I talk about like the history of the genres and how we arrive here. Then I want to talk about the genres in the 90s, in the early 2000s, interview people, etc. Then I want to talk about the festivals and how it spread the music even further. And then I want to talk about all the new subgenres that have been exploding from everywhere, and how the controversy about that. And these kind of projects, they cost a lot of money. And you can either have people who want to back you up and tell you, okay, we're going to give you $300 to do your content. Or you can have those people who are spending $34 billion saying, oh, how much you need? Yeah, 500,000 would be nice to really be able to create everything and to do some animations, to do the research, to have like a lot of journalists, and for them it's nothing. Or you can do privately, of course, but it's never been a time with such opportunities for these platforms who are looking for content.